Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Be honest with me, guys. How many of you out there have watched Depp versus Heard on Netflix? Um, Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard has been a phenomenon, a recent cultural phenomenon that no one has been able to ignore. Even the ones who haven't looked into actively, who haven't followed this whole trial, dedicating hours and hours of their daily life, even those people know about this trial. Even those people are well aware of what happened between Amber and Johnny. And yeah, so it is a cultural phenomenon, a phenomenon that has been dubbed as a very important psychosociological phenomenon in the wake of the wokeist narrative, the xenofeminism, and the fifth wave feminism narratives. Um, I've talked about this once before. I have a video on my channel on which I talked about this trial when it was ongoing. But it is really after the trial, and especially after some of the movies that were made, some of the documentaries or docudramas that were made, like the one that you see on your screen. This is Netflix, Depp versus Heard, three-part mini TV series. It was only after this that some of the very important issues and themes, recurring themes, leitmotifs, were made absolutely clear to especially the youth who were at the point in time when the trial was ongoing, weren't really well aware of these themes and thematic concerns. I mean, we all know about Professor Jordan Peterson. We know about other people who have been very vocal against fifth wave feminism and xenofeminism, for that matter, and generally the wokeist narrative. But this trial, it has a very peculiar importance in this affair, and some of this importance was lost on the youth while this trial was ongoing in the US, because the previous trial, Johnny lost that. Johnny Depp lost the trial held in the UK. But this one, we can argue that he won, although Amber also was given two of the points. She scored two of the points out of the whole conundrum. But some of the themes that this brought to limelight, especially after the trial ended and some of the docudramas were made, some of the movies were made, those are extremely important. Those thematic concerns, those points. Let's put it in simpler terms, are extremely important to note. And if you still have missed it, please join me today. I want to talk about some of these things and bring to your attention what importance this phenomenon holds for Muslims, especially in today's world. Every marriage has its problems, and especially marriages that happen in Hollywood. They are especially problematic. As Muslims, we all know the deviance that Hollywood promotes and the deviant acts that these actors are involved in. So, the important thing to note here is not what went between Johnny and Amber. Of course, Johnny Depp is no angel. He is as much a victim of stardom as Amber is. They're both addicts, they're both into drugs. They're both Hollywood people. What is important to note, especially after the trial has ended, and if you watch these documentaries and docudramas, what is really important to note is the effect that this trial had on the wokeist narrative, on the fifth wave feminist narrative, on the xenofeministic narrative. The xenofeministic narrative, although is less important in this regard, we're not talking about gender fluidity, but xenofeminism in terms of the eradication of gender completely. So that's also a way of saying that everyone is equal, all genders are equal. What is really important to note is that Johnny Depp winning in today's world has been considered so out of the ordinary that makes me really shiver. I have goosebumps whenever I think about that. It's not anymore about, in today's world, it's not about who's right, who's wrong. Think about it. It's not about, oh, but Johnny was right, that's why he won. Oh no, but how could he win? He's a man in today's world. How could he won? Is it true that his power, his status as stardom, his status of stardom, his status as a star played a major role in his winning? These are the questions that are raised by these docudramas, by these movies, these TV serials, especially the one that I'm talking about right now, this one right here, Depp versus Heard. It brings to the forefront questions like, oh, why did Johnny win? Because he's a star, because he's a powerful man, that's why he won. And that's really shocking. That really is shocking. Not in the sense what has happened to our world today. Our world is messed up anyways. The times that we live in, it's Dawr al-Fitan. It's the time of fitna that we live in. So it's not shocking in that sense. The shocking part is that these people from Western media who are thought to be who think of themselves as the light givers, they think of the rest of the world as cave people, as cavemen. It's the burden of the white man that rests on their shoulders. These people who think of themselves as enlightened human beings, they're not talking about justice. They're talking about how can a man win in today's world when there is xenofeminism, when there is fifth wave of feminism, when there is woke movement. How did this happen? These are the questions that these people are asking. As Muslims, one very important thing that we need to note is a very focal hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I'll come to that in a minute, but first let me address very quickly a question that was put to me by one of my students, and it was an interesting question. Matter of fact, I laughed at that time, and I was like, this is a very, very good question that you have asked. This is a funny question at the same time. He said, did Johnny not make a mistake? Why would he go and marry somebody like Amber Heard? And listen, you can't judge him like that, right? Somebody as beautiful as Amber, younger than you by years, decades, comes up to you all giggly, playful. Let me see how well you would react. And so he fell head over heels. I mean, she was declared once the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful actress in Hollywood, right? The sexiest woman alive. And in youth, she was extremely beautiful. And so who can blame Johnny? And this is where this hadith becomes so important. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Al-mir'atu tunkahu li arba'a, لمالها ولجمالها ولنسبها ولدينها فاظفر بذات الدين أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام." That a woman is normally married for four. It is true even today. This is not just about that time. Not only Arabs used to marry women for four things. Even today, this stands the test of time. A woman is primarily married for four things. Either of the four things, or two things combined, or three things. But from these four things, out of these four things, a woman is married for these four reasons. Limaliha, because of her wealth. So you see a woman that has a lot of money and you suddenly think, okay, if I get married to this woman, my life's gonna change. Also take into account people who go in different countries and then marry a national of that country. That also comes under this title. Marrying a woman because of her wealth or her status. So they go to States, for example, they marry an American woman, become a resident. Because of that, they marry that woman, right? So the first is because of her status, because of her money. Al-imratu tunkahu li arba'a limaliha wa li jamaliha, and because of her husn, because of her beauty. And definitely the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about the external beauty here. So limaliha wa li jamaliha, either for her status or for her beauty or for both, or any combination of the two or three reasons from these. The third reason is wali nasabiha, and because of her family background. This is also relating to status, but more so when somebody wants to get into a family which has political power or other source of powers, like you have seen happening in States a lot of times. You see happening in Britain also. You see this happening around the world. You marry into a powerful family because of that power. You want that power. You want that status. You want that political standing. Political reasons. Let's call it for political reasons. And the last one, walidiniha, and for her religion. Fazfar bizat deen, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, choose women because of their deen. Fazfar bizat deen, how good they are in religion, how religious they are. And this is a fundamental issue in today's society. We normally marry our kids. I mean, the generation that I belong to now, I'm an old guy. So thinking about marrying my son into a family, or thinking about him getting married to a woman, what we do normally is we think about the family background, we think about the wealth, we think about the social status, we think about the political status. Or when the kids, they are dating someone, even Islamically, you can meet a girl, right? You can have tea with a girl. That's not prohibited if you're interested in marrying her. But mostly what our youth is looking at is outward beauty, the external beauty, or the money, or the status. And so 90% of the time, you'll see around you, just look around you. Take a look around in your family, in your friends, in your extended family. Most in most of the cases, you'll find that out of these three reasons, the first three reasons, at least one is there in every marriage. Either the marriage took place because of the wealth, or because of the status, because of the socio-political reasons, or because of wealth, because of beauty, right? Your kid comes to you running, oh, daddy, oh, mommy, I want to marry this girl. Why? She's so beautiful. Or why? Because she has a huge car. She has a huge house and the latest car. She has a bank balance, or she has a huge family that's very powerful, right? Those are the reasons that we are marrying girls these days, that the marriage is happening. And what does the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? Fasfar bizat ad-din. The marriage that happens because of these three reasons is bound to be doomed. Forget about the feminism, forget about the woke narrative, forget about all of these things. The reason that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling you why our marriages not successful today is because you're not looking at the religion of the man and the woman both. That's the main reason. So when the religion isn't there, everything else will seep in to fill the gap, to fill the void. Wokeism will come in, feminism will come in. You will listen to things like, oh, but I'm equal to you. We are all equals, absolute equals. So go and cook yourself. Go take care of your mother yourself. Go do everything yourself. Who am I? Am I your maid? I'm not your maid. In Islam, the woman, the wife, has to obey the husband. Yes, has to obey the husband. Not in anything which goes against the religion. لا طاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق. There is no obedience of the makhluk, of human beings, if you are going against the decrees of the Creator. So you cannot obey the created if they are going against the wishes of the Creator. But in any other, in all other things, in any other thing, a woman has to obey the husband. وَلَهُمْ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ. This is a text of the sacrilegious scripture of the Quran. And men have 1 degree above women. In marital relationship, we're talking about marital relationship. الرجال قوامون على النساء. They are the managers of women. How are you going to manage a woman if she's not going to listen to you? And this is extremely important to understand as a Muslim. So when we marry our children, or the youth gets married into a relationship, and then after a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road, they turn around and say, oh, but our marriage didn't work out because of this, because of that. Understand that the marriage did not work out because you did not look at the deen. You did not look at the religion. That is the problem. And Johnny and Amber's trial and their whole phenomenon holds important cultural importance in these affairs because it elaborates upon this point. Why did Johnny marry Amber? Because of her beauty. He paid the price. If you want beauty, you'll have to pay the price of beauty. Beauty does not come cheap. Beauty does not come free. So really the message that you should take away from all of this is this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-mir'atu tunkahu li'arba' limaliha wa lijamaliha wa linasabiha wa lidiniha fazfar bizati ad-din aw kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam. The only way your marriage is going to be successful, fazfar. The Nabi has said it clearly. The only way that the marriage is going to be successful is fasfar bizati deen. Only if you are choosing because of the deen, because of the religion. A religious woman doesn't need to be outwardly very beautiful, because the beauty that matters is the beauty of the heart. And this is not some bookish line that I am retelling you right now. This is not some ideal. This is very practical. If your heart is beautiful, if your inner self is beautiful, and what do you mean by beautiful? Being positive. If you're a positive person, if you're emitting positive energy, if you are looking at the positive things instead of looking at the negatives, the minuses, you're looking at the pluses in life, it would be very easy for you to live that life. You'd be content and you'd be happy. That is the beauty of the heart. That is the inner beauty. And it doesn't come without religion. Unless and until you believe in the values that the Creator has bestowed upon you, the akhirah, the hereafter, the concept of Jannah and Nar, that you'll be rewarded in the hereafter for your good deeds, and you'll be reprimanded, punished for your bad deeds. Unless and until you believe in that, how are you going to be a good human being, a positive human being? Many a times when you're looking at something that's tangible and in front of you, something you can see, something you can feel, something you can touch, you forget what you can't feel right now, what you can't touch, what is intangible, what is beyond it. So you become very superficial. You look at the hardships, the day-to-day hardships, and you take all the negatives in those hardships, in the daily routine, in the daily life. Oh, you don't have money, or you don't have a good car, you don't have a big house. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. We're living such bad life. Look at the blessings. Count the blessings. Only these two eyes that you have, you can never repay Allah for this ni'mah. How can you? رَبَّنَا عِنَّا عَلَى ذِكْرِكَ وَشُكْرِكَ وَحُسْنِ عِبَادَتِكَ. I mean, really. Oh, I can go on and on this topic like forever, but I'm gonna keep this short and just wanted to share this with you. So tell your children, tell your young ones, and if you are a young one yourself, please concentrate on the deen, concentrate on the religion. The values that the religion teaches makes you a positive person. Somebody that looks at the positives instead of looking at the negatives. Unfortunately, we being human beings, we being sinners, that's not enough for us. We want that element of titillation, of sexual excitement. Beauty, the external beauty, is linked with sexual excitement, right? It's just that base instinct, that animal instinct. And so if you're going that route, please stop whining. This is what's going to happen, right? What happened with Johnny? And he was lucky to come out the way he came out, or it would have been much, much worse. So yeah, that's how it goes, man. Thank you very much for your time. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منا والممات وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.